Hello, my name is Shannon Yule. I am pursuing my creative writing for entertainment degree. I will be interviewing Professor Leslie Salas. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Leslie Salas. In addition to being an associate course director at Full Sail University, I'm an assistant editor for the Florida Review and the graphic nonfiction editor for Sweet, a Literary Confection. While I also write prose and screenplays, I'm most well known for my work in creating literary comics and for studying and presenting on the pedagogical value of comics and other multimodal narratives.
What do you see as the role of the visual arts in society today, particularly in your profession?
Today's students have grown up surrounded by visual stimuli, from the drawings on their cereal boxes to the cartoons and commercials they watch on TV. They're exposed to bright visuals in the picture books they read, the games they play, and the memes they create and disperse on the internet. We can't deny that we live in an increasingly visually literate society, so it makes sense to incorporate visual arts in teaching students any skill. In my experience as a professor, I've found that my students are more likely to engage in the course material and retain knowledge if the information they need is presented in a visual or multimodal manner.
Since you are a professional in the writing field as well as a professor, would your answer be the same?
As a writer of literary comics, I've found that my work is something of a novelty among serious literary readers. They seem surprised that the quality of craft is there alongside drawings and doodles. But I'm confident that the combination of words and pictures imbues the reader with a greater understanding and meaning than words or pictures alone may have elicited. This greater meaning is especially important, as it more accurately reflects our society's visual literacy, therefore resulting in more honest literature.
New communications and media technologies make imagery almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or negative influence on your field, and could you provide an example?
The instant availability and access to imagery due to new communications and media technologies is excellent for teachers and their students, since it can help assist in the learning process. So let's say a student is having trouble with organizing a piece of creative writing. Many structures in creative writing can be diagrammed with a shape or a visual. For instance, the hero's journey is drawn as a circle, the E structure is like drawing a lowercase letter e, and Freytag's pyramid is, well, it's drawn as a pyramid. The student may search these type of structures and then try to diagram their own writing structure to show it to their instructor for feedback. In return, the instructor can use any variety of Web 2.0 tools on brainstorming, charting, or diagramming to create their own image about the student's writing structure to send it back with suggestions for revision. Students may also be able to do a Google search or to utilize a visual thesaurus as a springboard for ideas about items or settings they're trying to describe, which can add a new range of sensory detail to their writing. They'll need to be careful, though, that they don't use any of the images they find without proper attribution, or that they don't rely so heavily on the sense of sight that they neglect the senses of taste, sound, smell, and texture.
As a writer, would your answer be any different?
Writers and cartoonists like myself, however, need to be careful with this new imagery that's available at our fingertips. We must abide by copyright rules and regulations, as being accused of plagiarism would ruin our careers. So if we are inspired by imagery we encounter on the internet, we must either reproduce it in our own way or provide proper citations to credit the original creator of the work.
What popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry?
The most popular images for teachers include apples, chalkboards, and papers with a big fat F or A scribbled across the top in red. For writing in particular, popular images include pencil and paper, the typewriter, any and all punctuation marks, fancy script on a page with a fountain point pen, a notebook paper with coffee stains, or even the silhouette of a form hunched over a computer.
If answering as a writer, what would you say different?
Common images utilized in the cartooning industry are word balloons and caption boxes. There are also marks called a manita, a visual depiction of some sort of emotion, like sweat marks near a person's head to show stress or worry, an exclamation point or a few dashes above a head or eyes to show surprise, or a furious squiggle to show frustration. How these marks are utilized is dependent on the style of comics being drawn. For instance, they're a bit more prevalent and exaggerated in Japanese manga than they are in American comics or Franco-Belgian bande dessinée.
What is one of your favorite visual artists? And what is your favorite style of visual art?
While I'm a huge fan of pretty much all visual art styles, I'm inclined to admit that my favorite style would be the literary comic. While these comics can be short, perhaps just a few pages published in a literary journal, they often manifest in book-length graphic novels or memoirs. I'm talking like 200 pages or more of sequential art. They're typically both written and drawn by the same person, and the most accurate term for this type of artist is the word cartoonist, despite the confusing connotation that this might imply the person creates moving cartoons or only draws gag strips in the newspaper. It's very hard for me to select just one favorite literary cartoonist, but in terms of writers who are also drawers, my favorite contemporaries include Ellen Forney, Megan Kelso, David Mazzucchelli, Craig Thompson, David Small, and of course the likes of Art Spiegelman and Scott McCloud.
How has your knowledge of famous artwork influenced your creative process?
Keeping up to date on famous artworks in multiple fields of art has been essential to my growth and progress as a cartoonist. The exposure to new ideas and innovative ways of looking at the world challenges me to reconsider my own art and how I choose to create my strips. Having studied major art movements helps me understand where art has been and helps me contribute to where it's going. I can echo back to anything from cubist sculptures or challenge the mimetic nature of realism by injecting incongruity and anachronisms. Looking at someone else's work always gives me new ideas for my own work. So studying famous works of art in person is probably one of the best things I can do for my creative process. Every visit to a museum leaves me revitalized, renewed, and ready to work in a new direction.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to answer these few questions for me.